And welcome to my YouTube. Painting on the left, Mona Lisa. Painting on the right, it's the Mona Lisa, believe it or not. There's well over 700 YouTubes, and it will show you identical images that are in between both paintings. The painting on the right, for certain, it's owned by me, but it is a diary of Leonardo da Vinci's works. It's like a storybook of little paintings and codes that are in it. I don't know why I took that away so you can see my beautiful ugly face. But anyway, hey, imagine you had a flip book, you have a TV, you have an iPhone, you have a iPad, whatever it may be. The works that's in this painting, 100%, it is like those, but without it having a battery. Okay, it's genius. It's genius. You have to kind of add all my YouTubes up to try to catch what I'm trying to give and try to see what I have in the painting that is absolutely unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. The first year I paced the floor here and I could not figure out how I was to explain myself with you. How I was really supposed to explain myself on the images I seen were so outrageously crazy that any artist would ever do or could imagine to do or have the intelligence to do, that God gave him the smartest brains ever possible. It's greatest hands, greatest heart. It continues in my YouTubes. I mean, you can imagine being a mush of love, a marshmallow of love, of art, of style, of genius. Anyway, this is just an introductory. And I'm going to be showing those spurts, and I'm going to do about 10 of these, and I'm going to plaster them for you to have a little taste of the other 700. Okay, so let's move on, and I'm going to reduce this, and I'm going to reduce that, and I'm going to open this, and I'm going to hit the start button. But what this is an image that is a 1 inch by 1.5 inch shot, 100 megapixel camera, phase 1, off the deck. Okay, now this so happens to be these little dots. If you actually add each one up, it turns into this guy. And then this guy, and 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 this guy built this guy. And then by the time you build that out of 100 little images, you have all the blacks that's in between. And then this whole section is another whole section right here of an owl. And then this whole section is another person, sideways, and it goes on. By the time you're done, you build this little section, and then what you have is thousands of images within this little section easily, and that's only on the top layer. Okay, so for instance, I don't know how old you are, but you remember the time, or most people will say, hey, look at that cloud. That looks like a boat. That looks like an airplane. That looks like a bird. Okay. What's this look like to you? From here on down. It's going to be all everybody's different type of look. But to me, it's like a funky owl with a funky beak. An eye, ear, kind of a somewhat cartoonish owl. And if you take this top off, it looks more and more like a special bird right here. And if you add or take this off and add this, it looks like the top of a bird. But then again, if you take a look at it again, it's also like a giraffe horse with a person on it. He makes thousands of these images, thousands of them, and all in within a little dot, and then he builds them like pyramids. And then it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets so worse. You have layers. And out of these layers, okay, are not like just cake layers. They are layers of each individual topping of his colors, like kind of like, I guess, cake, kind of like different colors of the frosting. But he puts inside these frostings, so if he uses green here and he doesn't want it to show what's underneath, he knows how to block it. Maybe he uses the lead paint, or if he does want, he'll put the transparency that would bleed through to whatever was down at the bottom at its certain level. But if you do look here, there's a tiger's face, the mouth, part of it, and here's another tiger's face. Okay, but each little item again built the tiger, because here's a tiger, and here's another kind of person's head, and it goes on that builds the tiger. Thousands of images just to build this. Now this is again 1.5 inch by 1 inch, and there is probably, I would assume, 30 million images minimum in this shot, minimum. And that's only again on the top layer, because each time you turn it, it changes. Oh, and by the way, that particular one, oops. I call the Iron Man. If you take a look, here he is, and a big shoulder. It comes on down, and he's a real tough guy. There's a person laying sideways, upside down looking. There's all kinds of people. These are flying individuals that's in here. That is the taste of my YouTubes. Not all, because I just showed you the X-ray that's in my painting. There is so much absolute 100% documentation of proof that nobody could ever know what's inside this painting except for the painter who painted it. So my opinion is that if the Mona Lisa was painted by the Leonardo da Vinci, which they claim, then that individual who painted the Mona Lisa painted my painting. There's no other. And if my painting ever came up to claim that Leonardo da Vinci did not paint my painting, then Leonardo da Vinci did not paint the Mona Lisa. Because it is absolutely impossible for anybody to have to do 7 years of work and $500,000 of labor to come up with layers in there that you would never ever see, to duplicate, to forge a painting. You would never spend 7 years and go through 8 to 12 hours a day constantly for 7 years and write a book that shows this. So listen, if you can hit the subscribe button, we'll go on to the next. You can go under MIDION-PASSION, MIDION-PASSION, and you'll find 700 YouTubes. Just keep searching. Hit the subscribe, hit the view, hit the notification, and wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay social distance. And I'll start off on this sheet on my next run. And with that, I got to say, would you please keep your distance again, one more time, there was 500,000 people infected within the last 48 hours. Okay? 48 hours. That's crazy. Okay? Leonardo da Vinci wasn't that crazy. You tell him to wear a mask. He's going to know to wear a mask. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know you got to wear a mask. You can't see this disease. Okay? Anyway. Amen. May I say, God bless the whole world, the universe, and the heavens. Amen.